Hi, welcome to what is maybe part two of the week or part two of the video or something. I don't know, whatever it is.
We'll figure out
We're going to
both.
talk Pac 12 and how it broke down and is now the Pac 4. Um,
There's a lot. There's a lot to kind of go over.
no, yeah, I mean, Twitter was active this past weekend.
I'll try to. I'll try to. I guess this more so affects me than you, but I can do the. I'll try to do the best like I can. But
anyways, yeah, I know. No, well, yeah. So for you, you're a team that is leaving the Pac. That is leaving the Pac.
We started
after
it
this year. That started the whole thing. You and your USC and UCLA out of here.
Yep.
That all happened last year. We thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna kick off all this craziness. And then what happened? Nothing for a whole year, and then the Pac-12 negotiations came up, and they were just absolutely disastrous. Klyavkov just bungled the whole thing. I mean, Larry Scott started this whole thing. Larry Scott, there's a quote that was floating around from, I don't remember. I'll kind of try to summarize it without mischaracterizing. But he basically said something to the effect of, Disney and Fox are it was part of the Disney buying Fox out. And he was talking about how like all these corporate mergers are good because they're allowing finances to be more established and everything to be more fluid, and how it would allow more teams to pick up all the stuff that they need. And then it turned out that, and then so he's like, and so when we come up, we're the first conference to come up for negotiations in 2023. We'll be able to just dictate our terms and be able to get a good deal with one of them. Yeah. And then what turned out to happen was, nope. The Big 12, once Bob Bowlesby retired, they brought in a guy. Oh my gosh, why is his name currently? Big 12 commissioner. This is the commissioner of the conference for the conference of my team, but Brett Yormark came in and he said, hey, we're supposed to negotiate in 2024, but let's just negotiate now. And so he went to ESPN and Fox, got a deal that was, I think, $5 million a year less than what the Pac-12 was currently getting. But he basically made it so the Pac. It's basically ESPN and Fox. When it came time, they were already running out of money, and they were like, what value do you offer us that the Big 12's not going to already offer us? So the Pac-12 just screwed it up, and the Pac-12 could have had everything. They ruined this.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job.
2 years ago, when the Big 12 picked up the 4 teams, they said they said the Pac-12 said, nah, we're good. We're going to stay in pat. We're going to make a deal with the ACC for scheduling, and things will be good from there.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Things were not good from there.
It imploded.
So, I mean, what was your reaction to the whole commotion?
I kind of just laughed.
I mean, we've been calling this for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for it to happen.
There's it's not good. I mean, it's a slow burn, but you had to realize that it was going to happen. There wasn't I guess not, like the Pac-12 wasn't going to survive. Like, it's ludicrous to think that it was,
Sure.
They had nothing.
I think what was crazy about it all was when the Big 12 first lost Texas and Oklahoma last year, it seemed like that was possibly going to be the beginning of the end for the it seemed like that was going to be the beginning of the end for the Big 12, and then it just didn't happen. I wanted to kind of highlight. Hold on, I've got.
Sorry, I'm looking for something specific right now. So hold on. But it's in like the junk folder of Twitter.
Let's see. I'm pulling up. Here it goes. My good buddy Scott Funk, who we've had on this podcast.
I disagree with this, but go for it.
He says, "Let's be clear. Today is a sad day for college football and a good day for Utah. They were on a sinking ship, Oregon and Washington, leaving with the nail in the coffin. Well, he says nail in the coffin, but nail in the coffin, and Utah didn't have a choice. It's the best possible outcome to preserve the direction of the program." What was your problem with that take?
Oh, I thought it was another one. I think he's right. I don't think it's a sad day for college football. I think it's just the way it was.
Why not? Go. Come on. I mean, I think the best thing for college football.
I've never been. See, my whole thing. I've never really been, especially in college football. Like, I'm not like one of these like tradition above all else sort of thing. That's kind of.
So you're a media shill. You want all the things that are best for TV.
I'm not a media shill. I want what's best. Here's how
you're a shill, Specs. You're a shill.
Here's how I look at it. I want what's best for my team and gives my team the best opportunity to shine in the spotlight. Whatever that is. If that comes from me, if that comes from my team staying in the Pac-12, hey, let's do it. If it comes from my team being in a different conference, let's do it. Like, that's what I want. I don't do this whole, like, I'm not like 115 years thing. Like, I don't give a crap. Like,
here's the reason I think it's sad is I think the best thing for college football would be if all of college football were under one umbrella rather than, this would never happen. Obviously, this is a pipe dream. This is not me saying this is what college football should do, because this isn't going to happen. No, there's no way the conferences would ever allow this to happen. But if the best thing for college football would be if it was all under one umbrella, and then sorry, Shohei Ohtani just got hit while we were watching this game. So he hit a ball off his ankle, I think. Oh yeah. All right, sorry. No, but I think honestly, what would be best is to put to put all the teams under one umbrella and say, look, we're gonna.
I found it. By the way,
go ahead.
Oh no, no. Okay, no. This is like a.
I'm still collecting my thoughts after watching.
So this is so something that was brought up, I think, last night. By his name is Andy Wittery. He's a reporter for One Sports. He brought up, and I saw one of these tweets, but I still don't think a lot of it. But this is, I think this was more of like a coalesce sort of thing because they knew it was going to happen. But several softball players who compete for schools that are leaving the Pac-12 have spoken out against the latest round of conference realignment. They cited mental health and further distance from their families to travel to road games. And a lot of them, if they feel this way, hey, that's fine. Like, I get it. A lot of them were saying, like, I picked to be close to home. Now they play in Jersey was one of them. Another one, similar thing. I chose to play in the Pac-12 close to home. They didn't have to travel as far. Similar thing. Two of these players from Oregon. And because the way softball and baseball work in terms of series, they have a weekend series and then I think a midweek series. So for them, they are going to be on the road like for an extended period of time. Granted, we don't know what the schedule is going to really look like. I would assume for teams that have to play series, you're going to get probably a West Coast sort of thing. They probably want to travel to New Jersey for a weekend. I'd be shocked. But that is the ideal for 24. Um, I I personally, you can, if that is a problem, I know people are like, well, that's not nice, or like that's misogynistic or whatever. Like it, if that's an issue, you can always you can transfer portal out. I get it. Like this is rougher for the baseball and softball specifically, that they are, because they play series. They are going to be away for a week on end. But ultimately, no offense to anyone, but ultimately you were already doing that anyway. The only difference is instead of leaving like probably Thursday, like that morning, because you're only flying down the coast, you're probably leaving the day before. It is unfortunate, and I get it completely. Sometimes this is what plays into you choosing where to go to school because your family is situated there. Does it seem a little weird that there were these collection of former players? By the way, Arizona went to the Big 12. That's not a lot of traveling for the Big 12 the Big 12 is very like Central United States. So Arizona's not really that big of travel. It does suck for the Oregons and stuff. But again, that you can always transfer. So just throw that out there.
The most exciting for me for college football would be if everything was under one umbrella and you just had teams playing mostly teams in their region. So BYU, Utah would be playing, teams like USC, UCLA, Arizona, lots of the same schools.
It's just,
but like what you had in the Pac-12, and then having everything arranged by divisions, and then just
you had easier travel because generally for college it is more regional travel. It's your bulk is going, like for right now, the bulk of it's just up the coast essentially. So, but again, we're only in 23. They could still add a couple more schools to where hypothetically they could split. Like one of the things hilariously when this was all going on was somebody saying the Big Ten should just absorb the entire Pac-12 and then just have like 4 divisions, and then like you have 2 conference. You have like, and then like you have like essentially a small tournament or something. Like you have like the Pac-12 winner, the Pac-10 winner meet in the Rose Bowl. Like they could have done that and kept it regionally, and then the 2 sides only come together for the title game. That didn't happen, and then we wouldn't be in this predicament. This cross country thing wouldn't happen. It'd be Big Ten West and Big Ten East or something.
Yeah, I mean, my problem is this kind of entrenches some of the better schools in just continuing to be the better schools.
I mean, that's what happened, because now you left the weaker schools to sort of like fend for themselves. I would just, like I said, if I'm the Big Ten, I would have been like, hey, we'll take you all, because then we can just we can kind of do West East and then just feed our title games now the Rose Bowl, which I think would be great. Truthfully, because then they get the best of both worlds. They still get that like normal Rose Bowl feel where the Big Ten schools travel out here for a title game. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get
like
you.
all that stays. But I think there's still time for them to add like a couple more schools that they really, really want to do. I don't think they are. I think they're kind of done.
I think for now, I mean, I think there's
they could as well try. They might honestly still try.
Potential for, it just depends. It depends on how the ACC shakes out. I could see the Big Ten going after, like Clemson.
The SEC would. I think the SEC would take Clemson.
I'm sure they would, but I'm sure the Big Ten wouldn't mind. I mean, let me see what schools ACC schools.
The ACC is even weaker than the Pac-12. The ACC Coastal is a joke right now.
I mean, because you could see Yeah, I'm sure Clemson would probably go SEC. It's just given the choice. But I could see like a Duke maybe wanting to go Big Ten rather than SEC. I'm trying to think of any of these other schools.
No.
Boston College might go Big Ten.
Like the schools, like I mean, the whole thing is you're looking at like the big schools where it's like, oh, we kind of, these are what we want. Like if Notre Dame's independent, but like if Notre Dame were to slide in, that would probably be Big Ten. But like the schools that's like, oh, who they poached? Clemson, and then funny enough, it might just honestly be like for big schools, it's probably just Clemson and UM.
Yeah.
Hilariously enough, like that, like you think the Pac-12 would be in a predicament if they got if with what was going on, if Clemson and UM left, oof. And Florida State. There's 3 schools, so like those are the big 3: Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. Like if those guys go,
yeah. Yeah, no, it is interesting. It's interesting to think about what college football is going to be in 10 years because it's definitely going to be changed.
It's going to probably just be a West, Central, East. But I think right now you're seeing it decay in front of you in real time.
I do think it does create kind of a worse product though in terms of like reason to watch because like I'd much rather watch. I would much rather watch in the long run. I'd much rather watch, in an average year, I'd much rather watch USC play Stanford than I'd rather watch USC play Michigan State.
I wouldn't.
In an average year? I'm not talking when Michigan State's good and when USC is good. I'm talking in an average year when Stanford's also good.
I've always been I've always been the fan of what's the best matchup. I don't necessarily.
That's what I'm saying, though.
To me,
Stanford typically
I don't think
has
it
matched
is
up better with USC than or let's go Northwestern as our one of our examples.
But if you're looking at
Nebraska, these aren't schools that match up well with USC in terms of wanting to watch it on television. I'd rather watch Stanford.
Yeah, but you're not a
fan.
Yeah, but you're not a fan. You see, you're looking.
I'm a fan of college football.
No.
I watch.
Hold on. I
watch all these guys all the time.
Hold on. But my point is if it came down to who am I more of a fan? You're a USC. You're more of a USC hater than a USC fan. So of course you want to watch the better matchup because there's that chance that Stanford outmatches up USC. Like I don't care about I just want the game. Like I'm sort of over.
No, what I'm saying is better football is going to be played between
not necessarily
Stanford and USC in a typical year than
necessarily
USC and Nebraska or USC and Northwestern.
Not necessarily. In terms of record, yeah, because Northwestern.
In terms of record, in terms of school hatred. Nebraska's not going to come to USC and be like, we want to beat USC like the way Utah wants to come to USC and beat USC. It's just not the same. Regional rivalries are so much more easily built. Regional rivalries are so much more easily built than.
But we don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking long term. I'm not talking.
But we don't know.
I'm not talking the way things currently stand.
We don't know. We don't know if that's not going to happen. They could still play Cal, and they could still play Cal and Stanford in their out of conference games.
Yeah, but those games have so much less meaning now.
They kind of had. They didn't have meaning now.
In an average year,
no, they don't. In an average year, no, they don't.
There have been years where USC matching up with Stanford has been a big deal. Where USC matching up with Cal has been a big deal.
Not in the regular season. Not in the last decade. It hasn't, because until last year when they were North-South, it didn't matter because they weren't in the same thing. What was that
year? I think Cal played Oregon, and both were ranked in the top 6. And this is within the past 10 years.
Oh, you're saying national.
I'm talking regional rivalries are much better than trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I
For
to a degree,
certain things.
I guess to a degree, but like, if you're saying in terms of like standing, no, I'd say no, but I get where you're coming from.
know.
The whole thing is, I think maybe because I'm more of an NFL guy at my core, so I just want the better game. I don't really care about like, I think maybe that's where like you like, I disagree with you and Scott.
You get a better game if every team is on similar footing and you're playing regional rivalries.
That doesn't happen though. Unfortunately. I mean,
I'm much more excited. I'm much more excited to watch Utah US
you want
BYU
that to
next year.
Yeah, because that
than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Almost.
Ooh, but Kevin Slovis, baby, he's like 30. Yeah, I mean, like that works out for you because that game matters again.
There used to be great games between USC and Stanford when they
were both good.
Pete
Carroll, when it was Pete Carroll
and Jim Harbaugh.
But the difference was those games.
But that was the mid. I'm saying yes, it's been a while, but it's just because of how things typically shake out.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you're asking the average fan, like, is that gonna to the average fan? I don't think that really matters anymore. I think that thing of like,
I'm saying long term, it's a short-sighted decision. I'm saying right now,
you're asking the wrong guy. Like,
that are currently
I have a rival. We have a USC.
You're guaranteed. USC
has a rivalry with Notre Dame.
Last year sucked for 10 years straight.
Yeah, because we had a terrible recruiter and a terrible head coach.
BYU like 100% of the time.
Yeah, you try to win a game.
And BYU wasn't great.
You try to win a game with our old head coach.
No, but that's what I'm saying. USC is not going to be necessarily in 10 years. USC is not necessarily going to be a good football program.
Yeah, no, that's not guaranteed of any program.
But that's what I'm saying. So long term, what shakes out better? Regional rivalries.
They can still exist. My whole thing is they can still exist.
But a game being played in September means a lot less than a conference matchup. I'm saying long term is better for the game.
We'll see what happens.
It's not going to happen. Even regardless of what I'm saying, it's not going to happen. Your thing is going to happen.
Yeah, so my thing is going to happen.
You're going to get whatever team. And what's going to happen is the Big Ten is going, whenever they go to make their schedules, they're going to make sure that they look at who was good last year, who's being returning this year. Yep. Okay, so USC and Michigan are looking to be the favorites. Okay, we are definitely going to make sure that they are playing each other this year.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. I understand that. That's why I'm saying what would be best is if everybody was under one umbrella. You mostly encouraged regional rivalries. Because then, when you have guys in California trying to decide between Stanford and USC, there's more of a reason to say, maybe I will go to Stanford. Now they don't have a reason to say they're going to Stanford. That's my whole point.
You only go to Stanford.
My whole point is this just entrenches the powers that be.
Yeah, it's a pure.
Georgia and Alabama are going to be the top two teams competing for. It's gonna be Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State,
Oregon, USC,
and
it'll be Oklahoma.
USC, I think in the next 5 to 10 years won't be competitive.
In the next 5 to 10 years, you're probably gonna have. If I had to guess, it's gonna be Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State's probably going to fall off soon. Ohio State, USC, probably Oklahoma will come back to fruition, and that's probably it. You might get like a couple of like woos in there, but realistically, you're going to have
the realistic thing is
you'll have your power.
It's just Georgia and Alabama.
You're going to have your traditional powers,
and USC is not going to be top of the Big Ten. USC is going to have a wake up call when now they're having to compete against actual schools and have to travel. Yeah, the Big Ten picked up Washington and Oregon, so that frees you up a couple games a year, but that doesn't free you up for most of the schedule.
It works, but the whole thing is, it works out so much better for them. They have guys.
You guys rented a few years from Oklahoma, basically.
I think you've discredited, and I've done it too. You discredited how good Lincoln Riley is at recruiting offensive guys.
I think he's good, but you're not going to get another Caleb Williams. You're just not.
He went from Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murray.
Those guys, neither of those guys are Caleb Williams.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is, and he was another Lincoln Riley guy.
Look, I get that he can get quarterback.
Is he going to get another Caleb Williams?
Also, what I'm saying, when Ohio State comes knocking,
hey, I got one for you. Can you stop being a hater of USC for 10 minutes?
Hold on.
If you're okay, in that argument,
I have mediated. I have fairly mediated the Utah USC discussion
in that argument, when you're saying if a quarterback's picking and Ohio State's knocking, who's he going to pick? The guy who can literally be like, hey, I got Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams. Do you want to be the next one? Or what's Ohio going to say? Hey, you know what? We had Justin Fields. He hasn't fallen apart yet.
All I'm saying is when one of those when one of the powers that already is comes knocking for Lincoln Riley, I don't see him being loyal to USC.
Oh, if Lincoln Riley's in,
you're talking 5 to 10 years. So I don't think Lincoln Riley's there.
You want to know what's funny? I had this conversation with J-Rod earlier. And I agree with him. If Lincoln Riley goes, I think he goes to the NFL. I don't think he's going to lead to another college.
But that's what I'm saying.
But I don't know when that's going to be. But I don't know
the moment. I don't think it's the moment. But the moment he does not have that many. He does not have that many years left coaching college.
Hold on. Time out. Time out. My whole thing is if you say when the opportunity comes, I think he's had the opportunity. I think he's just turned it down.
I'm sure he has. Because right opportunity.
Because the big thing is, and because Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is back with the USC now. Because the thing is with these guys, with these coaches that they don't quite get. I think Cliff thought he had a better situation than he did. The biggest problem with guys when they leave is they're going to bad teams. They're not going to good teams. The Pete Carroll Jim Harbaugh thing just happened to work out because those teams kind of had pieces. Most of the times it's going to be like what Carolina was. You're going into a situation where it's a dumpster fire and you're kind of having to fix it.
I'm
that's
just saying.
The thing. I'm just saying. I don't think the right situation is going to happen.
USC is not a. USC, I think, is more a product of Lincoln Riley.
I think I'm going to tell you that.
Then it is USC.
I'm telling you, you're
program, and that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, you're half wrong, half right. I think you're right. What you're right in, and I've said this, and I've had this conversation before, is USC's biggest problem is they don't have any recent history. Yes, that is true. Right now, guys in high school don't care about Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, like the Pete Carroll era. They're like, Pete Carroll's the head coach of the Seahawks. Okay, cool. Like that. Like, yeah, that's true. That is 100% true. Like right now, that's why they're all these California guys are going to Alabama, Georgia, the SEC, because that's where the history is. That could change because, hilariously enough, and you heard it from J-Rod when he was on here, OU with Lincoln still recruited. They're still going to recruit. I don't know for how long.
How many national titles did Lincoln Riley win? How many national titles has he won in his time as head coach?
See, that's my thing when I would talk to J-Rod about it.
But that's my point. Is
but then
USC's always USC with Lincoln Riley is going to be competitive. I don't see them winning a national title.
But you think? Okay,
and so here's my thing. These
kids don't care about winning the Natties.
You were a big fish in a small pond. You're now a average sized fish in a very big pond.
I wonder, and I don't think anyone will tell you because they're like, "Oh, I want to win." Do these kids now care about winning the national title, or do they care about being in a better spot for the draft? Because I think it's probably 50-50. I don't think
definitely both.
But I don't think they're going to Alabama to be like, I'm going to win the national title. No, they don't. They know Nick Saban will make him the best product for the NFL.
Yeah, but you seen some of these guys come out of Alabama who were really good college players who get drafted really highly and then don't have much of an NFL career, but they make a good amount of money because of their high draft status.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying is the reason Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan all kind of get entrenched is because these are teams that can make a guy look like.
Yeah, okay, but I'm saying USC is gonna be doing that with offensive. Yeah, but all of them you could say for now. Like there isn't one guy there.
But look at Georgia's history. Look at Ohio State's history.
It's all recent. History. All of it's recent.
But they've all been despite coaches.
Other
than Michigan, Michigan obviously has been because of Harbaugh.
But if you're saying recent history, it's all of them have been sort of the same way.
I'm saying long-term history.
Long-term history
USC had a much rougher stretch between two great coaches.
It had a rough stretch with one coach, and you keep harping on the one coach. All these schools have had hardships. Ohio State was nothing in the mid-2000s. Michigan, nothing in the mid-2000s.
Ohio State, ever since about 2009, has been a regular competitor.
No, they haven't. Ohio State's has had its up and downs. It's just the problem is they haven't been as good as you. Wait, hold on. They haven't been as good as you think. Let's see.
They were decent with Jim Tressel.
So from 2000,
and then they had Urban Meyer from 2012 to 2018, and then they've had Ryan Day ever since.
Oh, you know why? Okay, this is why. Because this is where it gets weird. It's because
true. I will give you this: they haven't won a national title.
That was gonna say. It's like, are you saying? I was gonna say, if you're talking nationals, like they win bowl games
almost every year since about 2000.
They win bowl games.
I'll give you 2010, 2011. They've been in the national title conversation almost every year.
Let's see, USC because I think you're just miscrediting. You're kind of looking.
You're forgetting the Lane Kiffin era. You're forgetting.
I'm not forgetting the Lane Kiffin era, but my point is like, yeah, USC's biggest problem is they were
literally since
Jesus
Pete
Christ
Carroll's been gone.
Can I get a word out? What I've been trying to get at is like, yeah, USC had a dominant run for 6 years, basically, I would say 9 years, for 8 years with Pete Carroll. Lane Kiffin era was fine. They won their bowl game. No,
it wasn't great.
Sark, they won the holiday loss. Clay Helton was the worst. Clay Helton's era was the worst because Clay Helton went from going from two New Year's bowls and Rose and Holiday to not getting into a bowl, losing the Holiday Bowl. He was undefeated in the shortened 2020 year. And then when he got fired, he was 4-8. Like they were still competitive, but the biggest problem they had with specifically the Clay Helton era, they couldn't recruit. Clay Helton was a shitty recruiter.
What I'm saying is, so Lane Kiffin was 28-15. That's not a great record. Ed Orgeron 6-2.
Yeah, none of them could recruit. Yeah, none of them could recruit.
I mean,
these weren't.
But that's what I'm saying. But since 2010, and prior to Pete Carroll coming in, what were they? Nothing for years.
And here's what I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna be like, that's copium. You're coping. I'm gonna tell you that when it comes to recruiting, and you want to know who, like, as much as recruiting kids, this is funny because some Rookie Williams who will recruit for Texas, and he made the comment of, yeah, kids don't know who I am, but their parents sure as hell do. If Reggie Bush walks in there and their dad was, I mean, it's not like, our kids, but if like, that parent was in high school, in college, like he's gonna know who Reggie Bush is. Like, this guy's Reggie Bush is in the living room. He's going to you. Like, that stuff still plays for the parents who, want for it. That stuff still plays. Like, as much as you want to be like, well, their history is awful. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to, and you can be like, that's not how it is. I'm telling you right now. If Lincoln Riley's in any kid's living room recruiting them against Ohio State, Michigan, whoever it is, all he has to say, literally, he has to be like, hey, Baker Mayfield, number 1 pick. Kyler Murray, number 1 pick. Jalen Hurts got the Eagles to Super Bowl. Caleb Williams, number 1 pick. You could be the next one. Like, that's all he has to say. That's all I say to like these bigger recruits, especially offensive recruits, is like, if you can build one thing well, you build one thing well. I don't
disagree,
that's
but
all they're going to do.
Almost all of USC's success is based on who's their coach at the time.
That can change because the whole thing, like the biggest thing, like all those schools have had, like the Ohio States and stuff, is they've had like just every school matters for their coaches. You can't like look at Stanford. Stanford went downhill once Jim Harbaugh went. Yeah, Brian Shaw still kept it, but they were going downhill because they couldn't recruit because they didn't have Harbaugh. Like the thing is, it's just a matter of, can you keep the recruits and build upon what base you have? USC didn't do that because they kept recruiting trash.
Okay, so we got away from the discussion a bit. My point is the way these conferences are getting set up is not good for college football.
I think it's great for college football.
No, it's great for USC right now.
If I won't regret it in 10 years. I'll probably love it even more. I think it's great.
Yeah, maybe if they win a national title in the next 2 or 3 years, here's why it's ultimately great for the game. You can be like, well, regional rivalries matter. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When it comes to just schools getting players, the ability to be like, to go in and say, you're going to be playing in big games against big schools, that's going to matter because that's what these SEC schools can do. Now, other schools can say, and you can be like, well, that doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Regional matters, blah, blah, blah. It ultimately, that doesn't matter. If these kids want to play for big conferences, that's where they're going to go. Yeah, exactly. You just made my point for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's good.
Thank you for conceding and telling me I'm right.
I didn't concede and say you're right. I'm saying it's great because now you can
did.
Yeah,
you
because
did. It's bad for college football. As a whole, it's bad for college football because it entrenches the powers that be.
You sound like a
sad. You literally just said that.
I said players want to play for bigger conferences. And this matters. Yeah,
exactly.
That's good.
So what would be good for college football as a whole? No. You're thinking what would be good for the teams that are already entrenched. That's what you're thinking about because currently USC is doing well.
No, I'm not.
That's where your mindset is.
No,
that's why you think this is good for college football.
You know why?
Because this is empowering the teams that are already established.
But you're forgetting the big equalizer. You have the portal. It doesn't matter. You can say
sure.
You got Kevin Slovis. Kevin Slovis is the best quarterback you got.
The portal does not empower.
Yes, it does.
Hold on. Let me finish my sentence before you cut me off. Who's cutting someone off?
Sorry, I let my Skip Bayless show.
Who's not letting someone get a word in? Don't bring that up if you're going to cut me off anyway.
It's my show. I can do what I want.
I thought this was Coffee with Specks and Bryce.
I'm first, damn it.
Bryce.
Say your piece.
My point is, sorry, you actually made me lose track there for a sec. No.
Transfer portal.
Transfer portal. Yeah. So my point is, no, the transfer portal does not empower a team to win a national title. It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
It's a free agency. USC did it.
Look.
USC did it last year.
Who's gonna win the national title this year? Probably.
I don't know.
Who are your top 3 to 4 teams?
I don't know right now.
Georgia.
And the Angels lost again. Yay! 5 games back.
Those are your probably top 2. Those, if I was a betting man,
I'll give you 5 that I think are going to be in the mix.
I would probably say one of those 2 would win, and I'd probably put my odds at over 60%.
In the mix, if I had to guess, your top 5 teams will probably be Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, USC 5.
I'd mix USC, maybe some random team.
USC 5.
I'd say USC, and then just below USC, I'd just put a list of teams like Utah or
let's see. Let me see if there's a preseason.
I mean, yeah, there's a preseason poll, but I don't trust preseason polls.
But the whole thing is, it gives you an idea. That's really what we're trying to get at. Is how's it going to shape up?
I'm talking about teams that I'm pretty positive are going to be the teams. If that makes any sense. And that would be.
Is there an ESPN one? Because they had Texas high. And I'm like, Texas ain't that high. So CB, according to CB, okay, so I was, so we were kind of in the ballpark. So according to CBS's football rankings, Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3, LSU 4, Alabama 5, USC 6, Penn State 7, Florida State 8, Clemson 9, Washington 10, and then Texas, Utah. So, I mean, so hypothetically, so based on that, so the top contenders then realistically would be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, USC. Top 6-ish. Hypothetically.
But those teams are not teams that are good. Those teams that are more than likely to be in the national title conversation, mostly built through the recruiting. And they're the teams that are the exception, because these players are going there knowing that they might have an opportunity to win a national title and boost their resume to go to the NFL. Yes, you're right. I think national titles more play into a how can I boost my resume to go to the NFL. But that's the thing is. But on the
flip side,
these teams were not beat, but these teams were not built. So, but what you're talking about with the transfer portal in terms of empowering players or empowering other universities that are outside the powers that be, that is not going to empower them to win a national title.
But that's the flip side,
that's going to empower them to be able to compete.
The flip side is the flip side of it is if you're in a situation when you saw it at Alabama when you had Tua and Jalen Hurts, they can transfer to another school that is a quarterback away. Now, will that happen as it goes? Who knows? But it gives them the chance to where if they fit into a scheme and that scheme fits them better, then they can ride it into they can ride it into the playoffs. So it might they might be
national title.
It could be it's possible.
Any other view is naive at best.
It's possible.
Any other view is naive at best.
Nobody's
going to take down Georgia and Alabama, and it's possible they are going to have the upside on recruiting.
It's possible.
That's why this is all bad for college football.
But it wouldn't. That's not going to change regardless.
View is naive.
But that's not going to change regardless. Blaming it on mega conferences or how the structure itself is shaping is blaming.
What I'm saying is this makes it worse for college football. This doesn't empower more universities. This empowers less.
It doesn't. But the whole thing is, it's not like we were empowering these universities to begin with.
My point wasn't that we were ever going to be able to empower.
Then why does it matter?
My point was this just pushes us further into doing stuff that's worse for college football as a whole.
But the product was already worse. It wasn't the product.
And
the product wasn't getting any better.
To make it better. This was not the way.
But there is no way to make it better.
The opposite of the way to go.
There is no way to make it better, though. There
is, but nobody's gonna go for it.
What is the way to make it better then? You don't recruit anymore? Like what is the way to make it better?
We talked about at the beginning of all this discussion, we talked about how I talked about having the best thing for college football would be to have everybody under one umbrella and to have regional rivalries as your main factor with the top competitors. If everybody was under the same umbrella, you could still get Ohio State and USC to play each other. Like if they're the two best teams or whatever, you could still get these teams to play each other because all you'd have to do is say when you're scheduling is say that exact same thing that the Big Ten's going to be doing.
But the
problem is the Big Ten doesn't empower everyone. The Big Ten empowers the Big Ten.
That's not the that's such
my point is it makes it worse for college football because it's not the best option. It's just the option that makes the people that are already empowered more money.
Yeah.
And the reason you're not able to see that is because you are part of the conversation already.
No, because the problem is
your team has been pulled into that conversation.
No, but the whole thing is if you're looking at it because you're a BYU fan, you're looking at it because you're basically what you're trying to tell me is that because USC is in the conversation because they got pulled into it because they're a bigger school, BYU's not, right? I'm trying to understand this. Is that what you're trying to say? Is because BYU isn't a football powerhouse, they're not going to have a seat at this table, and you want to see at that table, right?
I want every school to have a seat at
but
the
every
table.
School,
I want parity in college football.
You've never had parity in it.
But
you've never had it. You're not going to get it.
Your point is met in that the fact that the transfer portal, yes, it does increase parity,
but you're never going to have more. It. But that's not going to happen.
That's what I said.
I know.
You're ignoring my point.
I'm not ignoring your point, but I'm trying You're saying like it's bad for college football because there's no parity. But I'm telling you, there can't be parity. It's not the NFL where you can fix it.
Was in a perfect world, if I could design a league that would increase parity and would give every team an opportunity to compete for the top of the top.
The only way you could do that,
the opposite of that.
The only way you could do that
so
in this
was
world,
bad for college football.
In that world,
this just makes things worse. This just creates a step below the NFL.
That's what it's always been.
No, but what I'm saying, no. What college football used to be was amateurs playing football against each other.
Those days have been long gone. But those days are dead.
But that's my point. In a vacuum,
the days of valor when grandpa
we could have created. So the point is the reason you don't think this is worse for college football is because you're a USC fan.
I didn't think it was a problem when USC was in the crapper because the whole thing is
it hadn't happened yet.
No, but the whole thing is
USC was part of what instigated the entire deal.
No, but here's my point. Here's my point is. Parity doesn't exist. There is no perfect world where BYU is going to be on the same level as USC. That's never going to happen.
For that.
I know.
I'm not asking.
I know
for
you're
that.
not. I know you're not asking for it. You can be like, you're part of the conversation all you want. I don't know what to tell you. The only thing I can tell you is for however long this has been going on, at least since 2017. I have been very much aware that the days of amateur grandpa playing football to get through college has been dead.
That's not what I'm asking for. My point that you keep sidestepping is this is worse for college football. Your point is that this creates a better product for television.
It is a better product for television. If you want me to say, that is all I care about. Because no offense, I don't care what.
Because
what
you're
Wyoming
a USC
does.
fan.
It's not that I'm a USC fan. I don't give a crap what hurts Wyoming, makes Wyoming's product better. I don't care. I don't care what makes Boise State's product better. I don't care.
Exactly. And you're looking from the top down in terms of what makes college football and in terms of what you think makes college football better. I'm looking from the outside.
Yeah, but my point is, okay, because you're looking, we have different fan experiences. I don't care. I don't give a flying rip about all of that. I never have. You can be like, yeah, it's because I'm privileged being a USC fan.
What I'm proposing would have been a lot more fun for everybody to watch. What you're proposing is a lot more fun for USC fans to watch, is a lot more fun for Big Ten fans to watch, is a lot more fun for SEC fans to watch.
He's about to kill his catcher. It doesn't, but the whole thing is that's what we're headed for. The fact that
I understand.
I know,
I understand, and it's worse for college football.
You want it? Okay,
that's my point.
I'm going to ask you this question, and you can say it's still bad. If you know, and you don't like, you don't have to like it all you want. At the end of the day, when it comes, because this is part of it, is the economics part of it. Football is a net positive for most colleges. Most colleges have a football program net positive. What that net positive is it remains to be seen. BYU makes a lot of money off of college football. USC makes a lot of money off college football. As much as you hate that, that's what's going to drive this, because everything else is a net negative. That's just the facts of life.
I'm not talking about what's the most realistic here, Specs.
I can't answer your question. I legitimately
discuss.
I can't.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to discuss. I am not asking you to discuss what is most realistic here. That is not the conversation I'm having. I'm having a conversation about whether this was good for college football or not, and it was not.
I disagree. And you can say it's because I'm looking from the top down. You and Scott can keep saying that. I think you're wrong. Because ultimately
I'm looking at the entire college football product. You're looking at what's the best part about that product.
But if you're looking at the broad spectrum, there's more. Okay,
we could have, in a vacuum, we could have lifted the entire thing up. Instead, what we're choosing to do is basically create a minor league for the NFL.
It's been, I'm telling you, it's been that. If that reality just shattered
what I grew up watching in 2005 was not this bad.
It wasn't that bad. It got worse.
That's my point. It's gotten worse.
I'm saying it's gotten worse, but that reality's
gotten worse.
The product hasn't gotten worse.
This isn't college football anymore. This is semi-professional football.
Yeah, it's been that way since 2017.
This is more professional football than the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, well, welcome to football in 2023.
For college football. This is not what college football is anymore.
Your dream is.
What we might as well stop saying is calling them the USC Trojans and call them the Los Angeles Trojans and the Los Angeles Bruins and separate them from the university entirely.
I mean this wholeheartedly. Your experience would be a lot better if you just if you threw out the amateurism because it's gone.
My point is the problem. No. The problem is when I go to choose an NFL team, I am choosing between a bunch of professional teams. You grew up in Los Angeles. Who is your favorite football team? Your NFL team?
Indianapolis.
Why the heck are you an Indianapolis Colts fan?
Because I didn't have a team in LA when I was a kid.
Why didn't you root for the Chargers? Why didn't you root for the 49ers?
Why
didn't you root for the Raiders?
I rooted for the Niners for a little bit because my mom's a Niner fan, so I always have a soft spot for the Niners.
Oh, okay, but
I wanted, why did I? Why like?
No, but my point is across the United States, in almost every professional sport, there is a heavy amount of choosing your local team, but there is a much more significant amount of people who choose their team just based on, the Yankees are good, the Warriors are good, that's
not college football, though.
The Yankees are a bad example right now, but
I don't think, but that doesn't work for college football.
That's what I'm saying.
At least from what I've known,
is a lot of people choose their teams based on who is around them, who their college was, where they went to school.
Wait, what?
But now what's going to
No, I'm
wind
lost.
up
Wait.
happening is
Wait, I'm
more
lost.
more people from California are going to say I'm an Alabama fan. I'm a Ohio State fan. I'm a Michigan fan.
That's been going on.
But that's what I'm saying is what I'm saying is a lot of teams now are going to be losing their support over the years.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's bad for college football.
I think
it's bad overall for college football. What you're saying is what's going to be more entertaining for me to watch as a USC fan. And yes, you are getting the better opponents as a USC fan.
But what you just said is not true. There isn't in okay. LA's a bad example. LA's a horrible example. But like where Clemson is, where BYU is, where Baylor is, where TCU is, where Ohio State is, where Wyoming is, where Boise State is. Those guys will never not root for those teams because that's entrenched in a community.
My point
those things aren't going to go, but the whole thing is that stuff's not going to change. These college towns are still college towns.
So the problem is what's happening is who are in 10, 15 years, who are going to be let's say this.
In 2030.
In maybe somewhat general, in maybe somewhat general terms, who are two of the teams that are likely going to be fighting for the national title in 15 years?
I don't know.
What conferences are they going to come from?
Probably the SEC or the Big Ten, based on kind of just the recent history.
So how many schools does that give an opportunity to actually compete for something? How many?
However
right
many.
Now, as it stands,
how many? I don't know. I don't know.
Assuming
20?
that these conferences don't just suck up every team available.
Oh, out of all of them,
I think the Big Ten's at what now? 20?
Let's say 15.
No, 18. Big Ten's at 18, and the SEC I think is at 18, somewhere in that range.
We don't know how playoffs and everything are going to turn out, but
what reason would the SEC and Big Ten have to negotiate anything other than what gives them the best opportunities?
I don't think college football.
So now, if I'm a recruit, and I'm trying to choose a college football team.
The college football.
I'm a 4-star, 5-star recruit.
But in that regard,
who am I going to? Am I going to? Let's say I'm a 4 or 5-star recruit from Salt Lake City. Am I going to go to Utah or am I going to go to Ohio State?
Well, based on what I know, it would be Utah, from what I've gathered with their recruits.
Maybe Utah's the bad example because they do.
No, but that's my point. Is the only way.
Like in 10 to 15 years, no, they're going to be going to Ohio State. They're going to be going to USC. They're going to be going anywhere.
Utah. I'm going to push back on you with this, and it's what I said earlier. Utah, BYU are entrenched in the community. I don't think that's going to change.
Are entrenched.
Kids start off as fans.
If I'm a 4-star, 5-star,
it doesn't matter.
10 to 15 years. If I'm a 4 or 5-star guy coming from Salt Lake City,
it won't change.
It's gonna change.
It won't change.
It's gonna change because the odds in terms of Big 10 versus Big 12 or SEC versus Big 12.
Oh.
My odds of making the NFL are going to become drastically different versus the difference now. Nope. And that is going to be the case. I will die on that hill. As that current
I will die on that hill.
8-year-old kid is now.
I will die on that hill.
He would be giving up millions of dollars to say I'm going to stay home and play US. I'm going
to die on that hill. It won't. It will. The region. It's
going to get worse.
The regionality that the small college towns have, that will never change. It's never going to change.
It's going to get worse.
No, it won't. I'm telling you that right now.
It's going to get worse.
No, it won't. I will.
You mark my words.
I will fight you on that.
It's going to get worse.
I will fight you on it because the one thing
in 10 to 15 years, if things haven't gotten worse, I will get on whatever form of podcast or video thing you have going, if you do have any, and I will say, I told you so.
entrenched the biggest thing. Okay, what if you're in 10 to 15 years, we don't know what's gonna happen in 10 to 15 years. It might be that it is just semi-pro and college football doesn't exist, whatever. But my point there's two types of recruits. Are there the recruits who will go wherever the money is? 1,000%. Are there recruits who just want to play for their hope, for their school, for the school they rooted for? Absolutely. There are two different types of recruits. The recruits who are going to chase the dollar and the recruits who just want to play for their school. Those recruits will never go away.
Right now, Utah's pool involves a lot more of the first kind than it will in 15 years.
But what I'm telling you now is those guys who are entrenched and are grinders and who are chasing the dollar, those guys will still be there.
What you're talking about is one, maybe two 4-star recruits for Utah, whereas last year I think they had 6 or 7.
They still could.
They won't.
They could. I'm telling you, you're looking at it. You're looking at it negatively. I'm telling you, there are good recruits that, because I'm telling you right now,
these guys aren't going. These guys,
they are.
These guys that are going to Utah right now are going because they believe that they can compete and show for the NFL. Yeah. They won't be able to do that in 15 years when it's just the SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah, they can.
Not the best of the best.
Doesn't matter. If there's two things when it comes to that, one, the entrenchment of what's a good atmosphere, and two, if you're a good player. It does not matter. It does not matter where you are. You could Zach Wilson, Josh Allen. Josh Allen came out from Wyoming. That's a dog shit conference, and he's still, look where he is now. Yeah, it's coaching, but my point is, talent will rise to the top no matter where it's at.
Will there be play?
It doesn't matter.
Your point of Josh Allen. Who recruited Josh Allen?
I have no idea who recruited Josh Allen. I didn't give a crap about Josh Allen.
Nobody recruited Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Do you know Josh Allen's story at all?
I know he wasn't that good.
Do you know Tom Brady's story at all?
And they're good. But my point here,
they ended up being good NFL guys. And yes,
but my
there
point,
will still be guys.
But there my point is,
guys in these schools. Yes, there will still be guys from BYU in 15 years that go to the NFL.
Then what does it matter?
My point isn't will there be guys from these schools that go on to be really good? No, that's not my point. My point is the guys that are clearly the top, the cream, the cream of the crop are going to go to the better schools in greater droves than they ever have.
They already are. But what I'm telling you is
get worse.
But what I'm telling you,
my point of Utah getting maybe I would need to pull up the number, but my point of, let's say Utah got 6 total 4-star recruits in their last recruiting class. They're gonna get 1.
It does, but I'm telling you, that doesn't. Those recruiting star ratings are like minor league packages. It doesn't make a difference. That doesn't matter in the sense of who goes to the NFL. But it doesn't matter what makes a good roster either. You could have.
But my point is the parity goes down. More of these 4-star, yes.
But you're looking at
Utah and BYU and those guys have made a living off taking 3-star recruits and making them look
exactly.
5-star
you're missing
recruits.
That point. It doesn't. But if you keep saying we're going to lose 4-star and 5-star recruits and only get 1 4-star recruit if we're lucky and all 3-star recruits, the raw talent doesn't matter. It hasn't yet. Who gives a crap if you guys only get 3-star recruits? That says more about your program that you can turn a 3-star. Look at the tight end they had. He was a 3-star recruit. They turned into a Frankenstein monster. That says more that guy can coach than the other guy.
You're missing my point, though.
The 5-star. Go ahead.
Who has the top recruiting? Who has some of the top recruiting classes in the nation, and who is going to win a national title this next year at probably a greater chance than 50%? Georgia, Alabama have 2 of the top 10 recruiting classes every year, who is going to be competing for a national title year in and year out?
Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Yeah, but it's like, didn't we just have this talk with Otani where I keep, what do I always say about these guys? It's a mystery box. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Wait. These are top 5. Okay. Hold on. I want to wait. Can I see something? I want to see something. Hold on. Are you right? Yeah, you're probably right. You're absolutely right. But I want to make, this is the point I want to make. This is the only point I want to make. Okay. USC has 3 5-star recruits, and this is the Pac-12. USC has the most 5-star recruits of 3, followed by Oregon with 1. In terms of 4-star recruits, USC has 10, Oregon has 19, Utah has 8. 3-star recruits, Oregon and Utah have 9. USC and Oregon have 9. Utah has 14. And I'm going, and you could, but the whole thing is like I said, does any of that really, does that matter? At the end of the day, does that matter? You can say yes all you want. I don't think it does. It comes from what you get out of these guys.
In terms of it matters in terms of parity, and parity is going to go down, and there's going to be a decrease in competition across the board for anybody that's not in the Big Ten and SEC.
I don't know how to get this point across that it doesn't matter if you're Alabama who had the most 5-star. Was it Alabama? It doesn't matter if you're Alabama who can recruit 9 5-star guys in a recruiting class. Or you're Georgia that can get 5, or Texas that got 4. That doesn't matter. They're mystery boxes. At the end of the day, there's so many boxes. You can say parity's dead, parity's dead, parity's dead. If you can win and be competitive with 14 3-star recruits compared to like USC that got 3 5-stars. If you can win with that and be competitive with that, you can clamor all you want. The parity's dead, but I'm telling you, the parity is dead, and the parity is dead in terms of the higher end recruits. The parity is not dead with the product on the field, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the games and the games played. It doesn't matter who wins the preseason, who wins this nonsensical crap of where they draft. It's how they play. Are the 5-star guys better than the 3-star guys? Not all the time. Look at USC and Utah both times. You can't tell me that that parity is going to die because you guys aren't getting recruits. That is a lie, and that is just fabrication because you want to claim poor that you can't get quality talent. And that's not true. That is 1,000% not true. Did Utah get bodied by a bigger school? Yeah, they did 1,000%, and everyone knew it. But they were competitive, and they did win their conference despite not having any of that. So that right there, yeah, you can clamor, parity's dead. But the guys who know how to coach and the guys who can do the best with what they have will do well, regardless of whatever conference they're in an expanded format. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so Florida, LSU, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Florida State, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, Alabama, Georgia.
What is that?
That is the list since 2008.
Oh, 2006. Those title winners
of the national title victors.
Okay.
You want to hear what it was like before that?
I know it was way.
Let's go 10 years. Let's go.
You got to give me a year where you're starting this. I know there's more.
Starting 1996.
Okay, hold
Florida?
on. Wait. Time out. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Time out. I want to make this a note because it's an important one. The bowl system changed, I want to say, in 2000 to the BCS. The prior to that was very different. Let's make that clear.
2014 was the first year of the college football playoff.
No, I'm saying BCS.
And they didn't change parity.
No, but I'm saying you missed they didn't, but I'm saying when they declare title winners were different back then, because if you were
okay,
that's what I'm saying.
I'll start in 98. I'll give you that because it was the BCS.
Because before it was like it came down to like who's won certain, because I think the writers picked the title winner, right?
Yeah.
So that
like in
so
19 BYU's won national title. They were declared by AP, FWA, NFF, USACNN, and UPI. That's like a sweep of basically all the powers that
be. Now, for the record, I'm not taking that away. I'm just making the point that there's going to be more parity when you have more voices instead of one overarching computer who doesn't have a clue how to rank schools.
So I'll give you 98. That's the year the BCS started.
I don't think there was even that much more parity back then, was there?
Tennessee, Florida State, Oklahoma, Miami, Ohio State, LSU, South USC, Texas, and now we're up to Florida.
There still wasn't that much parity.
That was a decent amount of parity.
But okay,
that was a decent amount of teams competing in that.
We can end on this point because I don't want this to get lost. I don't want this to get lost. In recent times, it changed to how big your front four is. The SEC has the biggest front four, and they can body the smaller front fours. So in terms of like that, you're probably right. But in terms of like the talent and what they can do, I will fight you that you can do more with what you have. It's just the problem is the SEC is bigger in terms of the front four, and you saw that. You saw that this year. You can give me that look all you want of you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. But what I'm telling you is look at TCU Georgia. They got bodied on the line because that's what Georgia is. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that I'm not that point is not correct. That line that Georgia had last year was an NFL line.
You can't honestly tell me this isn't going to entrench the powers that be. In no way could you ever convince me of that. It's just not going to happen.
What I'm telling you is the Angels are going to drop down to 5 back. But what I'm going to tell you is if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the rich get richer, the rich are going to get richer. I'm not going to tell you that out of nowhere some schools going to do really, really well. I won't tell you that. What I will tell you is if you're steadfast and saying your USC is going to get better and BYU is going to suffer. No, I don't think they're going to suffer. And will they win a title?
I don't know. I think BYU, if you want to go for Big 12 schools, I think will mostly not have their situation get much worse, but they won't have many opportunities.
But you and I both know that if they expand the playoffs, anything can happen. It's one game, and anything can happen in one game. So in terms of that, do I need to read the past 5 college football champions, past 6? You're saying that's SEC. It wasn't what's the out of that list? I don't think there's been a school that's repeated on that list, has there? Or did I not listen? I really don't.
Georgia won the last 2 years.
So, but before that, I don't think Alabama won 2 or went on a run of like 2 in a row or anything like that. Conference
since 2009, Alabama won in 2009, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2017, and 2020.
But what I'm saying is my point is there hasn't been like one consistent run of just like Alabama running 2 out of 3 years.
Alabama won 3 out of 4 from 2009 through 2012.
Okay.
Alabama won 2 out of 3 between 2015 and 2017. Georgia has won the past 2.
Okay.
Clemson won 2 out of 3 from 2016 to 2018.
I mean, is that will that change? Probably not. But that's just how
that's what I'm saying.
But that's how it is.
The richer rich. This just gets the rich richer and the poor poorer.
That's how it's always been. It's just been under the rug.
This just made it worse.
It brought it to light
for college football. No, yeah, it brought it to light and then made it significantly worse.
I think we're just continue. It's the same thing as last time. We're going to disagree. I mean, yes, I don't think it's good. If you ask me, is it going to entrench the powers that be? Honestly, probably not, because I don't know what happens going to happen with image and likeness. That's unfortunately that's an equalizer. Because you hear it, it's an equalizer. if BYU wants to get in there, if BYU throws, I don't know what BYU can offer. I don't know what BYU boosters can do. That's really what it comes down to. If a rich booster comes around in BYU and says, hey, we can make you the spokesperson of something, then that's where it's going to go. Like, there is an equalizer. It's just, I don't know how long that's going to take, because right now, yeah, the rich schools can do it because they can throw the money at him. At some point, could that change? Yeah, it could change. We don't know how things are going to shake out. I just think your view is a little naive and a little top heavy. But if my view is naive and top heavy, so be it. I'm just trying not to. I won't say like the smaller schools can't compete, because they very well could. You're having a hard time seeing over your excitement as a USC fan, and I would be the exact same way. There you go. I mean, what I'm saying is, you're wrong. I'm not saying, hey, you're right, because I'd be the same way. I'm saying I'd be wrong if I was in your shoes too. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong though. Why would you? Because I won. Shoes. Because I won. Your shoes feel like they fit well, and that's my point. See, I look at it as I got out of a crappy conference that can't do anything. Is that my school's fault that my school's best interest was get out of this dead conference? I didn't say I didn't blame USC and UCLA. I'm blaming the whole situation. I'm putting the whole situation in as crappy. Oh, the situation's awful. The situation at large. The situation at large is bad. Point the entire night. No, it's that the situation for college football as a whole is bad. What would be the best would be USC, West, and UCLA, Central, Oregon, Washington, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado all make the right decisions. Yes. Does it make it? I will agree to that 1,000%. But they were presented with an option and they took the best option available. But at the end of the day, to them for doing so. But at the end of the day, when we look back at this and say whose fault was it, it's the Pac-12 leadership's fault, 1,000%, because they couldn't deliver. Yeah, because they couldn't deliver. My conversation wasn't, oh wow, who do we blame? Do we blame USC and UCLA? No, my conversation was this worse for college football? Yes. To reiterate, for the schools that can't get in, for the Cows, for the Washington States, for the Oregon States, the schools that are bad. For college football as a whole, yes, it was worse. But like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm trying to be. That's why I'm trying. 15 years, if you want me back on your podcast, like if we're not still doing the podcast at that point, or which I assume we won't be. You want to be doing this in our 40s? Any sort of content creation at that point, and you have a podcast available, and it's. I will either step on to be like, wow, I was wrong, I didn't foresee that, or I will step on and say, I told you so. But I am more than positive I would be the one saying I told you so. But anywho, like you said, this went on longer than I think we anticipated. So good thing we split. Whoa! We walk it off. Watching the Angels game. I turned it off. No, not quite. Did they tie it or something? Walk off. Huh? It's a ground rule double. Oh, so they. Oh, all right. Well, they're gonna lose. Oh, it'd be fine. Probably, but if they hit one more single, then the game's over. There's 2 outs. But anyways, let's wrap this up so we can watch this game in peace. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I don't know whether this was twice a week or if this was 2 separate weeks of whatever. I mean, hell, we could just scrap the first one. We could scrap the baseball one. We'll figure it. We'll talk. We'll talk tomorrow. All right. With all that being said, we hate each other, and we're gonna go. I'm driving up to Utah. We actually love each other, and this is what we love. This is the kind of content we love making, is where we argue at each other. It's better content when we're on the same side or on the opposite side. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyways. I thought I was driving, so I thought I was supposed to put this down, put the plane down or whatever. All right, now it's awkward. All right, well, this was Coffee with Spects and Bryce. I hope you guys enjoyed watching Spects and I kind of get at each other a little bit. And until next time, I am Bryce, and this was Spects. He's gonna make me sleep
See you
on the
next time.
couch tonight.